Welcome back, YouTube. So this video, it's about two issues with long-term empty nose syndrome. I've been having this 10 years about. One very, very important thing that happened to me only recently. It's related to kidneys and heart. This is going to be discussed in the first half of this video. In the second half of the video, I will just describe what is the importance of what you eat and when you eat to keep the nostrils less dry and perhaps also less blocked at nighttime. So always look in the comment section. I'm going to link you the things that I'm going to forget saying in this video. So look in the comment section. I'll also put you a playlist with all these videos and also in the video description. So just below the video, I'm going to put the timeline for this video. Let's just start it off, and let's say that a couple of months ago, so I've been doing through this condition for the past 10 years, and in the past 3 months I had a sudden and I would say worrying problem, health problem that is directly related to this long-term condition. The problem is, let's just start this way, because the nostrils are getting very dry after this surgery, these turbinate surgeries. What will happen is after several years, the lungs will change. Your lungs will change. Lungs normally operate at 100% humidity, high air humidity, and this is obtained by the nostrils being wet in normal person. When you had this surgery and your nostrils are becoming very dry all time, this causes the lungs to lack humidity, and this will changes the structure, the base structure of the lung. And what will happen as a result is the lungs will start losing humidity. So instead of receiving humidity, they will start losing humidity, and this will cause your body to dehydrate very, very fast through the day. I personally drink water almost every hour, like half a cup. The problem is at nighttime you cannot really drink water unless you wake up. You need to continue doing that at nighttime, but at nighttime your body will dehydrate even faster, and this will affect your kidneys because the kidneys filter the body blood. The blood, basically the entire body blood, is passing through the kidneys several times a day or an hour. The kidneys need a fluid blood in order to function properly, and when you are dehydrated, the blood is getting thicker, the kidneys are struggling to work. This may or may not show directly. However, what happened on top of this is that some foods will affect or will make actually the kidney work even harder on top of the dehydration problem. This is what happened to me a few, like 2 or 3 months ago. I'll explain this in the second half of the video. I also follow very demanding diet, also related to this dryness. But because of this, I'm hungry pretty much all day. And one morning I decided to start eating bananas just because. So I started eating 3 or 4 bananas a day for about 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, all of a sudden I woke up at one night and my heart was smashing inside my chest. It's hard to believe, it's hard to describe this. I did have palpitation for many years and did check my blood pressure. I do have one of these machines, and I do recommend you get one of these, either electric or manual with a pump. So I did check for many years. My blood pressure was perfect, around 110, 115, which is very good values. But that night, 3 months ago, my heart was no longer pumping like having a heartbeat, but it was smashing inside my chest. It's definitely, you will notice right away what I'm talking about when it happens. It's like it's a balloon that is smashing inside you. And I went checking my blood pressure, and it was I did this for a few nights. It went from 135 to 150, 130, 150. So much higher than it was before for me. So this is only like 3 months ago, this very high blood pressure. It continued through the nights. And long story short, doctors will not really help you with this condition because they need to investigate and they need to find the reason for this. I went myself, and so if you go to the emergency room, you will just waste another night, and so on. So I went myself doing some searches online. Perhaps I was fortunate that I have a degree in engineering, also a master degree, and I also did study. I did research, so I know perhaps how to find information on internet. And I found out that if you look for forums or so, you will see that people say too low potassium. Bananas are full of potassium, and I'm talking just for about this episode now, but I will complete with more details, so keep watching this video. It's not a small detail I'm talking about. So bananas are full of potassium. It's true that too little potassium will affect your kidneys. However, what the internet doesn't say is that too much potassium will destroy your kidneys, will really smash them. So I already had this dehydration. Most likely you already have a dehydration problem. If you add on top of it foods that have elements or whatever nutrients in that food is that make the kidney work harder, this is going to get you into trouble, and potentially very, very bad trouble. What happens is when kidneys struggle really badly, what they are doing is they are kind of commanding to the heart to pump stronger and faster. So basically it's a signal from the kidney who is struggling to filter the blood for the pump to help him more, and this is what raises the blood pressure because of the heart activity. So to sum it up, dehydration plus some foods, and I'll explain in a moment what you need to watch for, will just really cause your kidney to struggle, and in turn the kidney will send a signal for your heart, and in turn the blood pressure, you will get very, very high blood pressure. It can happen all of a sudden one day, and it's very concerning. This is not a joke, because our body, because of this ENS condition, has been already struggling for many years. I did had heart palpitations for many years now, so it's not something that you want to add on top of it. Again, heart palpitation does not necessarily mean high blood pressure. It's high blood pressure, you will know what it is. It's not necessarily heart palpitation. It's something different, and it's very strong and very obvious. Long story short, long story short, that's, I'm not doing this on purpose. Let me just get some water. I stopped eating bananas. I just say, let's test this. So I did stop that banana diet, if you want, the very same day, the very same night, basically, because this blood pressure, high blood pressure, happened at night when I woke up one night. So the same night I stopped the banana thing, the blood pressure dropped to 120 or so, which is almost normal. Within 1 or 2 weeks, it dropped to normal values, 110, 115, which is very good. So the banana regime, if you want, had a very, very clear sudden impact on kidneys and blood pressure, high blood pressure. Once I stopped, it went away. Unfortunately, because I was still hungry, I kept looking for some other food, and luckily or not, I don't know, it's a coincidence, I started eating a lot of peanuts, walnuts, nuts. These are nuts, which turn out these are very high in oxalate. It's another substance, and this oxalate in normal person may not cause a problem unless you eat a lot of amounts, but my kidneys and your kidneys too are already struggling from dehydration. These oxalates, after maybe 2 or 3 weeks of eating nuts, started rising my blood pressure again. So I went doing my research, find out the nuts and other foods have oxalate, caught the nuts. This time the blood pressure took several weeks to lower after cutting the nuts. I don't know, 3-4 weeks perhaps. Right now my blood pressure is again back to absolute normal, 110, 115. So all this to say that we need to watch what we eat, because our kidneys, because of body dehydration, because of nostrils being very dry, the kidneys are struggling, and maybe I don't know, may cause even problems in the future. But it's just very important to watch what you eat. Watch for, actually try not to eat foods that have a lot of potassium. Try not to eat salt, and try to Google up, look on internet what foods have oxalate content to them. If I don't forget, maybe I'll put some information in the comment section, but just go and look up for this information and just scrub those foods altogether. So this is for this part. Let me just talk now about the food diet that I need to follow. And it's a different matter. So what I've just told you till now, banana, nuts, oxalates, those stuff, this is one thing to protect your kidneys. Right now, I'm going to talk about a diet that I ate for the past 3 years or so. And this diet helps me having my nostrils less dry at night, and also helps me unblock my nostrils when I'm asleep. I'm going to talk about this diet now. I'll just point of some foods. I'll point what I eat right now, but look in the comment section. I'll put more details. One thing before I start with this diet information, I need to point out about something very specific. This empty nose syndrome, this consequence of turbinate surgery and septoplasty, it seems there are two bad outcomes. Both of these possibilities have dry nostrils. However, some people will have the nostrils permanently too wide open. They just feel that they are breathing much too much air, and this is causing anxiety and so on. This is a condition I had for the first 3 months after the surgery. After the 4th or 5th month, my nostrils actually started to block when I was asleep at night. So it seems some people have dry nostrils but very wide open nostrils, and other people have dry nostrils also but closed or blocked nostrils, especially at nighttime when asleep. This is my condition. However, the diet I'm going to describe right now and explain the reason for it, this is going to help you with the nostrils being less dry. So for everybody, is going to help getting the nostrils a little bit more humid. And this is a very, very important part of this condition. Now, if on top of this, you also have the nostrils feeling too wide open, and you feel like you are breathing way too much air at once, I did make a video. I do recommend you, let's see, what is the box? I think I bought this from AliExpress. So it's like anti-snoring, it's called anti-snoring device. I don't know if it really works for snoring, but it works to restrict the airflow inside your nostrils. And these things are made to be inserted inside your nostrils, have like a hook to stay outside, so it doesn't go too deep. And there's several dimensions. And what does this thing will do for you is that it will just restrict the airflow. So you can adjust, use different dimensions. Look in my playlist. I explained this in another video. This couple of dollars, AliExpress, eBay, and you can search for them. Maybe if I don't forget, I put a link for this. But just look up on online stores. So this will help people who have too much airflow and dryness, but the dryness part is going to be partially fixed by a diet. This diet also for me, this is what really made me struggle a lot. This diet will also unblock your nostrils while asleep. And this is very, very important because the nostrils can block really almost completely. And there is more details to this, is that you will wake up yourself at night with the nostrils almost blocked and the mouth closed. You cannot keep your mouth open while asleep to breathe by your mouth. And this makes you basically breathe like through a tiny straw by your nose, and is very difficult condition. But this diet will help you with this and with the dryness. Let's just go for the diet right now. I get my mouth a little bit dry. If I don't forget, at the end of the video, I'll try to also point out why the surgeons are doing this surgery to this day, even though they know there are problems that happen. Maybe not to everybody, but to some people, why they are still doing this turbinate reduction and septoplasty, because the two always go together. Even if the doctor tells you only septoplasty, they will also do turbinate reduction almost always. Anyhow, let's go for the diet. What happens with the diet is, let's put it from the anatomical point of view of a healthy person. What happens when you eat, no matter the food, is that your food goes into your stomach, then into the intestines for digestions. There is a mechanism, a body mechanism in normal persons that will somehow restrict the blood to other parts of the body and will redirect more blood towards your stomach and towards your intestines. So basically what the body is doing in a normal person after you eat something is that the blood vessels that go to extremities, to your head, to your legs, will just restrict some amount, which will cause more blood being redirected to your stomach area. It's the same vessels, it's just that the vessels bring more blood. So this means, this is why sometimes you eat like a big pizza with cheese or so, and then you feel asleep. It's because you get less blood at your brain, but also to the rest of the body, except for the stomach area. So when you eat, you actually get less blood into your nostril. There is less blood circulating through your nostril. And this is very important because the surgery, what it does, the turbinate surgery, is it cuts through the mucosa that is inside the nostrils. And this mucosa stays wet in normal persons and even in animals. Look at dog, for example. See how wet the nose is on a dog. This mucosa inside the nostrils stays wet because of blood circulation through the mucosa. It has very, very tiny blood vessels. When the surgeon is cutting this mucosa, actually is making a deep cut deep inside your nose on both sides, they section through the mucosa, which cuts these blood vessels. So blood can no longer circulate properly inside the mucosa, and this is why the mucosa, which is like a skin inside your nostrils, this is why this mucosa becomes dry and will stay dry after this surgery. What happens when you eat is that the mucosa gets even less blood and it becomes even drier, if you get the point right now. So this is the idea about the diet, is to prevent this, just to make it this way. My diet that I've been using for about 3 years now, and that really helped me, I don't want to put words on this, but I went from 10% to, let's say, 50-60% or so in comfort, if you want. So this diet, what does is that I did eliminate some foods that appeared to me they were causing the mucosa in my nose, especially at nighttime, but also at daytime, would cause the mucosa being more dry. So there are some foods, such as, if you want, dairy, that will actually require more blood for digestion. So there is even extra blood going to your stomach area, even less blood inside your mucosa, which is already dry, even more dry the mucosa will get. So I discarded some foods. This is half of my diet. The other half of the diet, which is extremely important, just as important, is I normally would not eat past 1 p.m., past noon. So I just sit and eat maybe at 12, 12:30, finish eating at 1 in the afternoon, 1 p.m. And then until I go to sleep, I would no longer eat any meal. I will chew something. I will explain you a little bit my foods. I will chew a little bit of things, so because the hunger is too much. But that's my food for the day. So usually I would eat very early in the morning a good meal, a breakfast, and then a second meal at 12 o'clock, 1 p.m., and that's it for the day. A good meal, just enough so you are not too hungry at that point, and that's enough for it. So this gives your body the time to digest that food, at least in part. So then when this digestion, after a couple of hours of digestion in the afternoon and in the evening, when this is partially done, then more blood returns to the rest of your body, including your nostrils, and then your mucosa will stay less dry or even a little bit wet. This diet I did follow for the past 3 years or so, I think. Right now, it has changed completely my life. So from the point when I was where I was 3 years ago to how I am today, it's a complete transformation with this diet, to the point I can no longer basically not follow this diet for a single day. If I would do so, if I go to, let's say it's an anniversary or something, I will not eat. I will never skip this diet even for a day. If I would skip it for a day, the very next night I will pay the price. And it's such a price, I don't want to pay it, if you don't mind. So this is my, if you want, the way I eat. I can give you perhaps ideas. In the morning I will bake. I just, among the foods that I realize that have a bad impact, that cause the nostril to be drier, so the foods that worsen the situation, like I say, dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, soft bread, potatoes. There are several things. I try to put this in the video description. There are also foods that I did notice, like I think chocolate or biscuits like this, that will cause me heart palpitations at night. Strange as this is. So there are some foods that will cause a distinct effect of heart palpitation. I don't know why. I have no idea. Heart palpitation not meaning high blood pressure is two different things, right? So heart palpitation, and also there are foods that caused me, and this is very, very clear. I mean, if I ate that food one morning, I know that evening I will, that night I will have this effect. Foods that cause very, and I mean painful anxiety. It's unbelievable. It's something I'd never experienced before. Anxiety like a headache. It's like a slap in your face. I have anxiety about no matter what events through the day when I wake up at night, and this is strictly caused by some foods. So I'll try to put all this information in the comment section. Hopefully I don't forget. Okay, so if you want the kind of things I ate, and I get well with this kind of food, at noon I eat pasta. I just boil and eat pasta. I would eat kind of vegetarian ground meat. So it's not meat. I don't know if meat it's really having a bad effect or not. I don't know. I didn't eat it for many years. But it's really up to you to test and see the results. So I eat kind of pasta with ground meat. I eat a lot of cabbage these days. I use those Chinese Napa cabbage because my food is causing me constipation. So this cabbage or salad, fresh salad, are very, very helpful and actually are basically needed for constipation situation. But I eat this cabbage salad, and I also can eat salad through the evening. If I am really very hungry, yeah, in the evening, I will eat salad or this something very, very light and not big amounts. And in the morning, I will just bake myself kind of a pita bread, but not too soft. It has to be quite dry. And yeah, again, salad, cabbage. So it's a very, very limited diet. And my suggestion is start with a diet like this, something that you see it doesn't cause you problems, dry, very dry nostrils. And then if you want to test the food, just add that food one day in your diet and see the results the very next day or night. Usually you will see the result the very, my problems were especially at night. If I put a wrong food in my diet, I will see the result at night. My nostrils will be very dry, become blocked again. So the results usually it's the same day. It's a short interval, you will see the result. So just test like this, what works for you, what doesn't work. Start with a simple base diet and add every day something different and see if it's good or not. Sometimes, more rarely, I would say, there is a food that will take several days to have a bad effect, but it's not always the case. Oftentimes it's the same day or same night if you want. So this is about my food again. The items I don't eat and also the eating hours, both are just as important. Let me just, this is all about the this diet thing. Maybe, let me just look a little bit. So I was saying about why do doctors do this surgery? And by the way, when a doctor, when you go see a doctor, if you never did this surgery, when you go see a doctor and the doctor tells you your septum, which is a middle cartilage inside your nose, tells you your septum it's deviated and that's what makes you not breathing correctly. If they do a septoplasty, which it's intended to put the septum back in the middle, they will most always do also a turbinate reduction. They may not need, they may not tell you they are also going to do turbinate reduction because they know people are being aware of turbinate reduction and afraid of it. So the doctors some doctors may just say, we are going just to do a septoplasty, but most of the times they will also do a turbinate reduction. It's a bit long to explain what's going on, why they are doing these surgeries, but at the base, I just want to point this out. If you have a deviated septum to one side, and if you feel one nostril is not breathing correctly, and also this is all oftentimes associated with sinus infection on the side that doesn't breathe correctly, because the sinuses have drain holes that drain right into your nostrils. So if your nostril on one side is restricted because of the deviated septum, those sinuses cannot drain into that nostril and they become infected, and you may even have secretions from those sinuses on one side of your nostrils, and may even have problems with the ears, otitis, especially in children. So what happens is, when you have a deviated septum, oftentimes this is caused by a broken nose. And doctors don't tell you, and even if you ask them, do I have a broken nose? Are my nose bones shifted to one side or to the other side? They will not tell you the truth. They will say, no, it's fine. Why? Because normally a broken nose, which will cause the top, there's like small bones here, right at the top of the nose. This is the septum, it's flexible, but at the top you have the nose bones. When you smash your face into something, a hard surface, and this can happen to toddlers too, to baby, and no one will know they had a shifted bones at the nose. So when this happens, the nose bones shift to either side, and because the septum is attached to these bones, the septum will also shift to one side, and this is what's causing septum deviation. And most oftentimes the doctor will not tell you this, because normally when you have a deviated septum and a deviated nose bones, you need to perform a special surgery which is called, I think, rhinoplasty, which is exactly the same as a nose job. Nose job, you know, those stars, actors and stuff, singers, they just, or anyone could do this, obviously. They just want to reshape their nose. This is what rhinoplasty is, and this is what actually needs to be done to put the nose bones back in the center, and this will also recenter your septum by itself because it's attached to these bones. Doctors don't want to do this surgery because it's a big surgery, and doctors prefer to do kind of a shortcut, and that's when they reduce your turbinates, which is a completely different structure, and it's a much faster surgery, which unfortunately has these outcomes of empty nose syndrome in some persons. So doctors will just try to perform a faster surgery. It's a shortcut instead of doing the correct nose replacement, nose bone replacement, recentering, and septum recentering this way. But there is another part of this story, is that if this nose damage, broken nose bones happens when you are a child, or even when you are a teenager, when you haven't finished your body grow, if the septum and the nose are tossed to one side, the body will react in the nostril that will have an enlarged, that becomes enlarged. So one nostril will be more restricted because of that shift. The other nostril will become enlarged, and the body will actually start overgrowing the turbinate in the enlarged nostril. So one turbinate will overgrow and will potentially block even the enlarged nostril. So sometimes it is true that there is no other way to fix an airflow than to reduce a turbinate, at least on one side. And I warmly recommend you, if a doctor tells you your septum is shifted to one side, could be either side, obviously. If they tell you you have a deviated septum and they want to perform a turbinate reduction, tell them put the septum back in the center and reduce only the turbinate that is overgrown, not the other one, not the other side of the nose. So you have turbinates in both nostrils. Actually, there is 3 on each side. So tell them to reduce the lower turbinate only on the part that have overgrown turbinate, not on the other nostril. That's very important, because basically doctors do sort of a geometry when they do this septoplasty and turbinate reduction. They have turbinates on both nostrils and a septum in the middle, and they try to play with the septum to position it in between the turbinates, but they also cheat and try to just reduce the turbinates on both sides. You understand the point? It's like a geometry. You have two bodies on each side and one body in the middle, and they try to position all the 3 to have kind of air passage on both sides. But the problem is they touch both lower turbinates in both nostrils, and this is kind of it's like playing with modeling past, if you want. They are trying to make their surgery easy, to be easier for them, but it's damaging your body. So try not to let them touch more than one turbinate for the whole surgery. And also, you may ask them, you see, when I did my surgery, like I said in the video, the doctor did cut through the mucosa. They cut through the mucosa to expose the turbinate. The turbinate is under this mucosa. The mucosa is like a layer on top of the turbinate, like a skin. If the doctor cuts a long line along the mucosa to expose the turbinate, because they remove a part of the turbinate over a long line. So if they cut a long line into the mucosa, they will damage your mucosa. Ask them to only perform a small hole at the entrance into the mucosa, and then slide their instruments to reduce the turbinate underneath the mucosa without cutting through the mucosa all the way. You get the point? It's like they are doing something cheaper, not cheaper, but faster and easier for them. There is a way to do this intervention without damaging that mucosa. Perhaps some of them just don't want to stress themselves too much, don't want to make a surgery more complex than it could be. They take a shortcut and they damage your body, basically. So this is more difficult to explain. Not sure if you got the point exactly, but basically this intervention without damaging the entire mucosa is called submucosal underneath the mucosa turbinate reduction. And also never allow the doctor to remove the entire turbinate. Just tell them remove a little bit. Again, and by the way, it seems there are obviously there are several techniques. There is a radio frequency one, but I had people on my comments in my videos saying they had a radio frequency and they got empty nose syndrome. So it's not a safe technique. I would say perhaps the safer is this submucosal turbinate, partial turbinate reduction. And again, I cannot stress enough, ask and force the doctor to only reduce on one side if it's really overgrown. And by the way, if after the surgery they let you with I don't know, what's like something is like a plug inside your nostrils, if they let you wear that for 3-4 days and then brought you back in the office and started removing something very, very long, this means you got your turbinate, your mucosa cut all the way a long line and probably damaged. And if they are removing it from both sides, then you know that both sides have been affected by the surgery. So this is a sign, you know, perhaps at that point. Again, I just want to repeat this once again. The doctor, it's playing like a child with sand, if you want, like a child with modeling past. It's playing with both lower turbinates and the septum, and they are kind of, it's not easy to do this realignment, so they are kind of going the easy way to cut into both turbinates, and this is what causes a lot of problem. My advice is that they can do their job with just tossing the septum, moving it back to the center, and only touching one turbinate on one nostril, not both turbinates, lower one in both nostrils. Basically, they are touching the lower turbinates in each nostril. I want to say something, maybe this is interesting for you. I had both lower turbinates removed completely. I could see because they another doctor put a camera inside my nostril, so I could see there is no longer any lower turbinate. The middle and the upper turbinates have been untouched. They didn't touch, the doctor didn't touch those two. So there is top, middle, and lower turbinates. The lower one are the bigger ones, and that's why the doctor attacked these lower ones. Mine lower ones have been completely removed, and very surprisingly is that after the surgery, a couple of months after the surgery, the middle turbinate started to swell to the point it took the place, when it was swelling, it was taking the place of the missing lower turbinate. So the middle turbinate, because of this turbinate reduction, it's got such an imbalance inside the nose. If you want, the biological mechanism inside the nose got such a balance that the middle turbinate, it's now, or was before my diet, was swelling when I was asleep to the point of blocking almost completely the nostrils. So all this to say that if you touch this mechanism, the turbinate and the mucosa that's covering them, it's creating an imbalance. It's very technical in the way the body works. I think nobody should touch these things, but this is what medicine is doing these days. And I believe many doctors just are not careful with this. They are not cautious. And maybe some of them also, when they completely remove a turbinate, they want to do too much. And I warmly suggest, ask them, I don't want perfect result. Just remove a slight, maybe 25% of one of the turbinate. Try to shift the septum centered as much as possible, and I'll see how I'll breathe after this kind of surgery. I'll see how it goes. After it heals, I'll just go with a partial result. Don't try to overdo this turbinate intervention. Okay, so this is, I'm just over with these technical points. I think there are questions. Many people have questions, so I didn't find this information in other videos or forums, so that's why I wanted to add this. Hopefully it's almost clear for you. Make yourself a draw on a paper, something, see how the turbinates are. Go on Google, search Google images, see how the turbinates are located, and try to understand this thing. Let me just get through my page, see if I forgot something. And again, I was saying really that this broken nose can happen even in babies. If they fall on the floor face first, the tiny nose bone can shift to one side and it will grow like this. It will grow. If you look, you watch on television, even TV hosts, you will see some of them have a shifted nose. That's because the nose had been broken in the past. Some people don't even realize that, and almost surely those people don't breathe correctly with one side or maybe both sides. One of the things, if the doctor tells you after the intervention to do saline irrigation in your nostrils, do not skip this. Very important. Do it several times a day. I have a video on my channel, on my playlist actually, how to make a bottle with saline water at home, and start with very, very diluted. Basically start just with water. Don't put salt at first to get your nose used to this, because if you put salt right away, it's going to be a mighty pain. So go very, very graduate and do it several times a day, and do not stop this. The doctor will tell you this is needed to heal the surgery, but actually this is needed to keep your mucosa, try to rebuild those tiny blood vessels so it doesn't dry. So this may prevent someone who just had the surgery from not getting a mucosa that will become too dry. So saline irrigation several times a day. Do not stop it. Also very important, do not swell. Don't ingest that saline water by the nostrils. Depends on your head position. You may ingest it. Do not ingest salted water, because it can cause you kidney problem, other problems with your body. So be very careful not to ingest salted water. This is very important. I think I mostly, if you want to see, I put a lot of ideas, but the idea is just to pass a message. And I can say that I did search myself for many of this information. Much of this information, it's just not on website, and doctors won't disclose this to you. Most of these things are simply deductions, long-term deductions, and also I just tested things basically, if you want. Yeah, I think yeah, okay, maybe one last thing. Yeah, good thing I did look on the page. There are other side effects of this empty nose syndrome, which I was talking about in other videos, but let's just recall them now. Some of these side effects are connected directly with the body dehydration, and other side effects are connected with heart pounding, not high blood pressure, heart pounding, which I had for many, many years after the surgery. At night, especially at night, I would wake up at night and the heart was pounding in my chest, will keep pounding like this, like a broken clock. Again, without high blood pressure at that point. This heart pounding will potentially cause, because this heart pounding actually may affect very tiny blood vessels at body extremities. At fingers, what I had, at fingers, at feet, and on my eyes. What this caused me, the most important one, is that my eyes became very, very sensitive to light, both at daytime and nighttime. In my place here, I have all light on dimmers, red bulbs help also a lot. The screens, computer screens, are all completely dim. on all my devices, and I also have those programs, night light. It's kind of a shade on top of the dimming. So very strong eye sensitivity. I cannot drive without eyeglasses at night. With all those LED lights from the cars, which are very strong, these modern lights, I need to wear, do I have one of these here? Yeah, I need to wear yellow eyeglasses to protect me from cars headlights at night, incoming cars. This is one of the biggest side effects. I also had teeth pain after walking outside, just walking, and this is caused again by dehydration. What I do, I drink a cup of water every time I would go to have a walk outside. I did had my finger get very white and almost numb, very painful in cold weather. My the tip of the fingers. This is another side effect of dehydration. And one of the side effects or the heart pounding is that I got this kind of nail bending or nail clubbing, and this will vary. Right now it got much better, but if you look on my playlist, you'll find that it was growing like this. My nail would make a bump, right? I'm not sure camera would focus. My nails would make a bump on them, all fingernails. It was related to the heart pounding, and since the diet, this is good to just say it in the video, the diet that I did follow also cut completely my heart pounding at night. So since this heart pounding has gone, it's no longer there. Basically right now the fingernail are growing, I would say much flatter, just like it was when I was healthy. So this is just another sign. It's related to the heart beating at night. But it doesn't necessarily again mean high blood pressure. The high blood pressure will be caused by certain foods, like I was saying, in relation with kidney and dehydration. Okay, so this is it. Just go for the comment section, see the details I'll put in there, and also scroll through the timeline if it's not too late to certain moments in the video by subject. I will put this timeline, and it's easier to navigate this video. And keep good faith. I think myself, I'm Christian. Actually, this whole ordeal brought me back my faith. It's something that keeps you stronger, basically. And maybe even, who knows, maybe you pray and you get some help, and who knows. I think these things happen, especially in hard moments of your life. Okay, thanks for watching and good luck.